With the stage now set for the Anambra State governorship election, all eyes are on the Independent National Electoral Commission to deliver a hitch-free exercise. Fortunately, the indigenous people of Biafra has suspended its earlier sit-at-home order in the 5 southeastern states, which was supposed to commence on November the 5th, just one day before the polls open in Anambra. Also on Thursday, the 18 gubernatorial candidates slated to participate in the exercise met and signed a peace accord and committed to a peaceful election on Saturday. This has raised hopes that registered voters in Anambra will be able to head to the polls without fear of violence, as the residents are getting ready for the November 6th governorship election as they troop to the market to stock up ahead of the polls. Now joining us from Awka, the state capital, to discuss INEC's readiness to deliver a free and fair election tomorrow is Festus Okoye, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee. Good morning, Dr. Okoye, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Well, D-Day is here in Anambra State. The election is tomorrow. Could you take us through the state of preparedness with regard to INEC, your ad hoc staff, materials, deployment of assets, and, is INEC ready?
The commission is ready to deliver on this particular election. And as you are aware, this particular commission converted a total of 1,112 voting points into full-fledged polling units. And we took these polling units closer to the people that need them. Those particular polling units will be used for the first time in this particular election. Because since we created additional polling units, those additional polling units have not come into force. They will come into force for the first time in Anambra State. Secondly, this particular commission will also use the bimodal voter accreditation system for purposes of fingerprint and facial authentication. So we are going to deploy the beavers to all the polling units in Anambra State. Now, just yesterday, being Thursday, all the sensitive materials required for this particular election in terms of ballot papers and resources left the central bank for the 21 local government areas of Anambra State. We invited the leaders of the political parties and their agents. We invited civil society groups and organizations. We also invited the media to witness the movement of these materials from the central bank to the various local government areas. So these materials left under heavy security and accompanied by the agents of the political parties and the media to the 21 local government areas. The same yesterday, we also moved the bimodal voter accreditation system to all the 21 local government areas of Anambra State. By 7 p.m. yesterday, I got a report that all the sensitive materials required for the conduct of the election had arrived the 21 local government areas of Anambra State. So in terms of ad hoc staff, our ad hoc staff have been trained. We project that we require at least 25,009 ad hoc staff for this particular election. And this excludes our supervisory presiding officers, the monitors, and other categories of staff. If you add those ones, you'll be getting a figure of around 26,000. All of them have been trained and have been well trained in relation to their duties. We had a slight shortfall in terms of the ad hoc staff requirements. So we have harvested additional ad hoc staff from young men and women doing their national youth service in Delta and in Enugu State. And they are arriving this morning. So with the arrival this morning, we will have the full complement of all the ad hoc staff the Commission requires for the conduct of this election. So in terms of preparations, we are ready to go in relation to this election.
Well, that's great to hear, because you have always been resolute that there would be no postponement of these elections, and it appears that the events have borne out your confidence. However, I must ask, because a lot of people do wonder, there was that fake news that did the rounds, that your ad hoc staff had resigned en masse, which INEC was forced to deny. But can you take us through the safety measures that you have for INEC staff, ad hoc staff, and NYSC members?
Yes, you're right. Some people wanted to create some level of panic and fear in the minds of the ad hoc staff we are recruiting. Because as you are aware, our presiding officers are drawn from the rank of young men and women serving doing their national youth service, while the assistant presiding officers are drawn from students of federal tertiary institutions. So what we have done is that we have a life insurance and accident insurance cover for all the ad hoc staff that will participate in this particular process. And we have had very robust and engaging discussion with the security agencies in terms of the safety of the ad hoc staff that will be used for this election. Most of them will be camped at our super racks and the other registration areas. The police and the other security agencies have fortified security around these super racks from where they will be deployed at the first light tomorrow morning. Security has also been beefed up in our local government offices, including the 2 local government offices that were burnt during the attacks on our offices. And those local government offices have been reconstructed. Now, at the level of the polling unit for tomorrow, we are still going to have unarmed security agencies at the polling unit itself. But just at the outer limit of the polling units, we are going to have armed security officers on standby, and then we're also going to have those that will be doing patrols. Where we have a large concentration of polling units in a primary school or in a secondary school, we are going to have a contingent of armed security officers stationed at just outside the schools to provide security for the voters. So our assurance is that we are going to make sure that all the people who come out to vote on election day have adequate protection, and all our ad hoc staff will also be protected. We are not going to compromise on the safety and security of any ad hoc staff because the life of a single individual cannot be replaced, and no form of insurance cover can equate to the life of a single ad hoc staff. So their safety is a priority, and the chairman has given an assurance that we are going to do all that is possible to make sure that no harm befalls any ad hoc staff that will participate in this election.
So I want to talk about the technology you will be deploying tomorrow. And what's the sensitization level like, for the BVAS? Are people already aware of what they will be seeing? That's one part of it. And second part of it, what's the state of the sensitive materials? We've been hearing back and forth about some coming from Imo, some already in the States. You guys are saying nothing is coming from Imo. A lot of rumor going around. What's the state of those sensitive materials?
Well, in terms of the technology that will be used for this particular election, before we deploy this technology in the Isoko South 1 state constituency election in Delta State, we called the leaders of all the political parties at the national level and demonstrated the workings of the BVAS to them. And they were very excited and they were happy with this particular technology. We have also sensitized both civil society groups and organizations and the political parties and all the other critical stakeholders relating to the BVAS at the state level and also at the local government level. And we have also gone through the workings of the BVAS with most of our ad hoc staff. So people are aware of the workings of the BVAS. The only thing is that, the only difference is that we have gradually retired the smart card reader as the only means of authentication and replaced it with the BVAS. So people are aware of the workings of the BVAS. And the BVAS, if you look at what happened during the Isoko South 1 state constituency election, during the 2019 election, we used the smart card reader for purposes of authentication, and we had a total of 32.8% authentication. During this state assembly election, we used the BVAS and we had 97.4% authentication. So the BVAS will not only read the fingerprints, but has also capacity to read the facials. And if it's unable to read the facials, it will read the QR code at the back of the permanent voter's card. So we are going to have a high level of authentication relating to the BVAS, and we are not going to use any form of incident form in this particular election. If we are unable to authenticate you using your fingerprints, using your facial, or using the QR code at the back of the permanent voter's card, the implication is that you are not who you purport to be. In relation to the issue of sensitive materials, this particular commission, we do not touch the sensitive materials. The sensitive materials are directly delivered to the central bank, and the central bank takes custody of these sensitive materials. So what we did yesterday was to go to the central bank and identify our sensitive materials. All of them were brought out. The political parties checked them, civil society groups and organizations checked them, and the media were also there to record what was going on. The issue about Imo was that when our offices were burnt in the headquarters here, our store was burnt and we practically had no place to store materials. We decided that we needed to move the non-sensitive materials, voting cubicles, ballot boxes, and so on, from our zonal store in Imo State to the contiguous local governments around Anambra State and Imo State. But after some time, the contractor assured us that he had the capacity to complete our stores in Anambra here on time. So when these stores were completed on time, we moved our materials from the headquarters, from our zonal store in Owerri, and from other zonal stores that we maintain into the headquarters in Asaba here. It was from here that we now deployed the non-sensitive materials to the various local government areas of Anambra State. So there are no issues relating to the issue of our deployment and the issue of where we harvested our materials from.
Well, before you joined us, Dr. Okoye, we had a conversation with the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Anambra State, Mr. Adeoye, and he sounded also like you, very positive, very optimistic. And here you are also saying we are ready, everything is in place, there are no issues. But are there challenges that you envisage tomorrow? And, is INEC thinking ahead in terms of how to address those challenges, since you've been on the ground ahead of the elections? That's one. And two, any reaction to the decision by IPOB to suspend the sit-at-home order? And I hope you will not give me the standard line that IPOB is a proscribed organization and INEC doesn't want to comment on that. If you don't want to speak as INEC director, then comment in your own individual capacity. Over to you.
Well, let me just say this. I think it will be pretentious to pretend that there are no challenges in relation to this particular election. Yes, there are challenges. This is because the level of our preparations was also hampered by the shortened working hours in relation to what we were doing in the office. Secondly, there was this atmosphere of fear and anxiety relating to the security of the ad hoc staff and also the security of our staff. So most people were slightly tentative in relation to their response and also in relation whether they wanted to participate in the election or not. But the staff of the commission who were deployed from other states and who were deployed from the headquarters, we are resolute and determined that we must do all that is possible to make sure that this election takes place. And the leadership of the NYSC has also been very, very resolute in making facilities available to us. And the core members have also been very determined that they needed to serve their fatherland. So that really encouraged us to proceed with this particular election. In relation to your second question, this commission is focused, this commission is determined, and this commission is committed to delivering on this particular election. We are going to remain within the ambit and parameters of our mandate, which is to organize, undertake, and supervise credible elections. It is the responsibility of all the agencies and other organs of government to make sure that they do whatever is possible to maintain peace and stability in the polity. Our responsibility is to organize the elections to the best of our ability, and also to make sure that the votes of the people remains the only source of truth in relation to who gets elected and who does not get elected.
I see you cleverly avoided mentioning IPOB completely. I like that. So no.
Can I admit that I actually scoured the IPOB statement to see if there was any reference, no matter how oblique, to anybody resembling or any organization resembling INEC as being one of the people that approached them and made them change their mind. But no, you were not mentioned or referred to. But talking about how you're going to guarantee the mandate of the people of India Anambra, let's talk about, unfortunately, what the recurring decimal of electoral offenses. And it's just been a constant criticism of INEC, which I'm sure you're accustomed to addressing, that you don't do enough in prosecuting offenders. Will it be different this time?
Well, I think that the issues you raised and the concerns you raised are quite legitimate. Now, this particular commission has been very, very clear on the fact that we really do not have the capacity to prosecute electoral offenders, taking into consideration our mandate and also taking into consideration the gamut of things we deal with. We made it very clear that the issue of arrest, investigation and prosecution of electoral offenders should be handed over to a separate organ or a separate commission or a separate agency to deal with it. And that there is the need for us to break the cycle of electoral impunity in this country. And fortunately, the National Assembly is also working assiduously to bring into being an Electoral Offences Commission and Tribunal that will deal with the issue of electoral offences from beginning to the end. So in terms of the issue of electoral offenders, we believe that the security agencies will do their best. And since the extant law as of today is still the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, we will continue to do our best within the limits of our own capacity to prosecute electoral offenders because we need to break the cycle of impunity in this country. So we continue to do our best in relation to this area.
So what measures will INEC be taking? Because I know once the election starts, by the end of Saturday night, social media will be awash with all sorts of results. And that's where, a lot of people really like the idea of INEC using the Z-map. What measures will be taken as regards authentication? That's when you start seeing permutation from different polling units and the likes. What should be the word out there?
Well, let me make this very clear. At the level of the polling units, when voting ends and the results have been sorted out and entered into from EC8A, the presiding officers are also required to enter the same results into from EC60E and paste at the level of the polling units for all members of the public to see what has been done. Anybody who is interested can make a photocopy or do photographic image of that particular result. There is no problem with that. What people are not permitted to do is to make a declaration and make a return. Only the Independent National Electoral Commission is permitted by the Constitution and also permitted by the law to make a declaration and also make a return. Any other individual or any other group or organization that attempts to make a declaration or a return has committed an electoral offense. And that is one of the electoral offense that the commission will not compromise on. Any person who does that will definitely be arrested and will definitely be prosecuted because it has very serious national security implications. And the commission will not tolerate a situation where people will endanger national security through acts that are completely within its exclusive domain. And so the issue of people making a declaration and a return will not arise. But people can post results from polling units and so on and so forth. But no individual can make a return. Only the Independent National Electoral Commission can make a declaration and a return.
Well, Dr. Okoye, quickly before we go, we have just about 2 minutes left. You have over 5,000 polling units. When the chairman of INEC was speaking earlier in the week, he was quoted as having said that 86 of the polling stations do not have voters. Why?
These 86 polling units do not have voters because they form part of the 1,112 polling units that were newly created. Now, the people who did online pre-registration and those who also did physical pre-registration did not choose any of these polling units as their preferred polling units for the purposes of voting. And secondly, the commission did not want to dislocate the configuration of the existing polling units by doing what we call batch allocation to these polling units or by allotting voters to these polling units. We are going to do that immediately after the election because we didn't want to disrupt the existing polling units by carrying out our constitutional and legal mandate. So we didn't print result sheets for these 86 polling units. We didn't print ballot papers for the 86 polling units, and we didn't deploy the configure or deploy the beavers for these 86 polling units. And we printed we have printed a document detailing where all these detailing the exact location of the 86 polling units, and also detailing the location of the polling units that have between 1 to 50 registered voters in Anambra State. And we have given this to all the registered political parties and civil society groups and organizations for them to be aware. So we don't expect any result from the 86 polling units in Anambra State that we have 0 voters.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Festus Okoye. Thank you very much indeed.